Alright guys, it's been a while since I've done a tutorial, so this is not only going to be for the new people, but just kind of anybody that's been on the site for a while that wanted to see some of the changes that have taken place. I know there's been quite a few of them as far as, formatting and everything, but as far as you guys that are going to be new, this will be kind of a little welcome to Dog Pound Daily, and I'm going to show you just a few little tricks in making sure you format your articles the correct way. So the first thing I want to show you guys is basically just how we would do a regular post. Probably should save this one first. The regular posts are pretty simple, straightforward. When you come on here, you're going to be clicking Add New. And the first thing you're going to be doing is trying to think of a good title for the article. Obviously, you probably already got something in your mind if you're coming here and you're getting ready to write. I really don't have one. That's just a single one-page article, so I'm just going to make something up. Now, this is like a little news piece here. Normally, we kind of recommend not doing a whole lot of news piece type stuff just because there's a whole lot of other sites that already do that. So anyway, I'm just doing it just for, tutorial purposes, and obviously Baker Mayfield has not signed an extension. But if you did, we're going to sit here and we're going to write about it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write your article here. You want it to be something engaging. Again, like I said, this is just a quick example, so there's nothing real engaging about that one. This one probably would actually get lost in the fold, but that's for another day. Anyway, after you get your article made up, after you get your title made up down here, you come. What I typically do is go straight down to the site headlines, and I make sure that everything fits into these three categories down here. That it's not something that's kind of confusing. Sometimes I'll forget to catch this if somebody else doesn't, and then the way it looks on the website will be kind of funky. You'll come onto the website right here, and maybe this will just say Brown's completely overhauled, and it'll miss the defensive part if it's too short, and it'll just kind of look funny. For the most part, all of these look pretty good, so there's not an example there. Anyway, we'll get back to this. The next thing I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll pick my focus keyword. And this one will kind of have two options. 90% of the time, we're going to be going Cleveland Browns. But in this situation, you could also go Baker Mayfield if you wanted. Either one would really work in here. In this situation, I probably actually would go with Baker Mayfield because let's say he signed an extension. His name's going to be the one that's trending. That's all over the news. So we're going with that. So once that's in there, the next thing you're going to do is click this Edit Snippet button. And this is going to be what shows up when the search engines look for your articles. So I typically try to keep it the same as this one up here. Sometimes you might mix it up a little bit just to keep this green. Trying to keep your SEO looking good. So that's just something to keep an eye on right here. If you keep going too far, eventually it's going to turn yellow, and Google and all of them don't like that. So try to keep it green. The meta description is just a quick, just a summary of what your article's about. Here we're going to say Baker Mayfield signed a 4-year contract extension. We're going to give him Jarvis Landry money, as if he changed the culture. And same thing with this one. Just keep an eye on this little green bar down here. You don't want it to go too far. We start doing that, it gets in the red again. Search engines don't like that. So try to keep that in the green as well. And you come up here. What I always do is I start my article out with that meta description. Sometimes you might have to change it a little bit if it doesn't really fit in here. If there was something you're wanting to say but it didn't fit in the meta description, then you can kind of add a word or two, whatever, no big deal, but I think you get the idea there. Anyway, I put the meta description up there, and then in the past we used to do this H2 heading. We don't do that anymore. So when you put the thing at the top, I always just italicize it, and that just kind of lets people know, makes it look like it stands out from the rest of the article. There's these buttons over here that you guys will pick as well. I always just click these as I go, but this is a good checklist. Just keep an eye on that as well. So it's telling us here we don't have our keyword, which is going to be down here. We also didn't have our category. And this one again, you do more than one. I would do Baker Mayfield, and then I'd probably also just do Browns news. And then keywords, always going to put Cleveland Browns. Every article we do, we put Cleveland Browns down here in a keyword, and then you can put whatever player's about in this situation. Baker, try to limit this one 2 to 3 players max. We do too much, and it kind of messes some stuff up with the searching as well. I don't believe this is on your guys' here. I've got my spin zone. I'm a contributor on there, so I pulled that up just so, no, this one will look more like what you all will see. So I was just making sure we do not have the featured and popular. That's something that I'll be clicking, so don't have to worry about that. But then the last thing on here that we need to do, you can do this afterwards. I always just do it beforehand just because I'm a creature of habit and I want all this green before I start working. But you'll pick your image. They tell you to use this one first. Sometimes this Imagine Images doesn't have what we want. So Getty Images is always an option as well. But we'll try to follow the rules here and go with a picture from this one first. Doing the featured images is a little weird, just because you search for the picture, you download it, and then you just get out of here and then pick it somewhere else. So we'll pick a picture of Baker running right here, just because I don't think I've used that one before. All right, and the one thing that you'll want to do when you do download this under this alternative text, you need to put whatever the focus keyword was when we hit this edit snippet button. And if you remember, we put Baker Mayfield. Just for good measure, you can also put Cleveland Browns. And again, like I said, this one's kind of weird. We'll X out of it. We don't do it there. Instead, we'll come down here to set featured image, click on Baker, and we'll make sure that this alternate text stayed, and it did. Sometimes it comes out, I don't know why, but it stayed here, so we'll click set featured image. Now, once we're here, I click save draft repeatedly just to make sure it's saved. And there we go. That's a good looking little intro. We can click preview and see what it's going to look like. I always make sure you preview them so that they look good, and you can see Baker's picture popped up there real quick, and then it goes away. But then here's our little intro, and then down here is where the body of the article would be. Again, I'm not going to do a whole lot on this one because it's not a real article. All right, so we write all of our stuff in there, and then we'll click. One thing we always want to do is put in our our short codes. So we've got our whole body of the article here. We got a quick little sentence ending it, and before the ending sentence, we're going to do a build a short code, and we're going to do next. So what we'll do with that one is, that's not a real article. I'll go to here. We'll use JT's article as the next one. Browns completely overhauled their defense. Keep going to PFF. That's not us. So I just kind of highlighted it's loading forever, driving me crazy. All right, I just kind of highlighted. Now it clicked all those times I went down. Now I just kind of highlighted this part here, use that, and then you can use, then you also want to highlight the URL. Copy that and put that. I already did that. What am I doing? So I put the URL there. Now you want to highlight this part and put it under the description. Click insert shortcode. And that would really be it for the writing. Some other little tips that you'll want to do when writing the article. The first time that you use somebody's name, like Baker Mayfield, that is, the article's about him. I usually go and find his stats from Pro Football Reference. And I'll copy and paste that over here. We used to use a reference linker. We no longer use that. We still do need a couple of outbound links. So I recommend doing it on like that player's name. If you're talking about an article, put that in there. That's about, probably the best ways to do those. We also need 2 inbound links. And what that means is 2 links back to Dog Pound Daily. The easiest way to do that is the first mention of Cleveland Browns. You come over here back to Dog Pound Daily, and you click this news button at the top. Highlight the news page, and you put that over Cleveland Browns. Now the second one can be a little trickier, but what I'll do sometimes, and maybe I'll do like, if I have other outbound links, I may have a link to another story, I may have another player in here I can link. I may decide instead of using Baker Mayfield stats, I may just go to this Baker Mayfield tab, or I may use the draft tab and just kind of do the same thing if I talk about the NFL draft. Or if there's an article that we have on here, like for instance, if I'm sitting here saying, the Browns go out of their way to sign a bunch of smart players, I may click Elliott's article here and tie that back in, if that makes sense. So you want to get two links in there. If you guys don't get it, it's not the end of the world. I usually find out. I usually can tell that it's not there, and then I'll get it, and I'll put it in. Another thing to go over real quick on any of these is quoting anything at all. Let me just find something here. We're just going to pretend that this article is talking about Baker Mayfield's extension. So let's say that I said something here about Baker, then I'm going to go ahead and put it in my article. You kind of copy paste. We all know how to do that. You always want to make sure to put whatever you're taking from another article in quotations. And we're quoting me, the one guy from DPD. And we'll put that right there. We'll highlight, and I know there's two ways to paste it. I was sitting here doing it. I didn't even think about it till just now, but I know there's two ways to paste it. One way, if you highlight over here and just hit, I've got a Mac, so it's Command V. I think it's Control V on PC. Or you can even click this button here to insert or edit link. Just copying and pasting has always been a little easier for me. It's just kind of what I do now. Once you do have a quote in there, make sure to use this button here for block quote. And then you're good to go. That would be it. I think that's it. The main points I wanted to touch on that. Now I'm going to kind of show you guys something real quick on my other article that I'm working on. I'm going to be scheduling for